Welcome to Intentional Excellence, where we explore the power of authenticity, intentionality, and leadership in navigating life's challenges. Today, we're diving into our Solo and Strong series, conversations with individuals who embody resilience, empowerment, and purpose while standing strong on their own. I'm your host, Candice Ruggiero, and today I have an incredible guest, Pauliana Lara. Pauliana is a public speaker. She's a coach and a legal expert with 2 decades of experience. And as a single supermom, she champions the both and approach, proving that women don't have to choose between a thriving career and a fulfilling family life. Through her coaching and speaking, she empowers working moms globally, giving them the tools to create balance, stability, and joy in both their personal and professional lives. To my viewers, help me in welcoming Pollyanna to the show. Hi, Pollyanna.
Hi, Candace. Thank you so much. And just as an aside, while you and I were trying to set this up, I was so amazed at your energy and your speed, and it's so refreshing. I kept sending you notes like, Candace, I love your speed. You're so passionate and so excited, enthusiastic that it jumped off of my text. So I'm thrilled to be here.
Thank you. And actually I kept all your I love your messages because like we were sending emails and messages, and every time Pollyanna mentioned, she called me a Wonder Woman. She called me
Oh, I
a
did.
like I actually kept it. Like it meant a lot. It really
Oh,
did mean a
good.
lot.
And the thing is, we've never even met,
I
right?
know.
And for your audience, this is the thing. Like the human connection is so real, it doesn't have to be in person. And you can meet somebody in person and there's nothing. There's no connection. And you and I feel like I was so excited this morning. I think I logged in like half an hour early.
Yeah,
I
she
could have,
did log in 15 minutes before when I was still like sort of like putting my makeup on. And
I,
also, we were already speaking about 10 minutes before, and I'm sure right after the show, we'll be speaking more. I
that's
do
right.
believe, Pollyanna, I do believe that people are meant to meet for a reason. I do believe that.
100%. Now, sometimes it's not a good reason.
No, this is for the good
This
reason.
is a
Please.
beautiful, no, this is a beautiful reason. And Candace, I said to you, remember, I said, look, after we record, I must talk to you because I want to learn more about you, your energy, your speed, your enthusiasm. I need more Candace.
Well, please know that I appreciate you. I've never had a lawyer in my show, and I believe that
Oh,
you may be solo, but you being a lawyer and the other things that you're doing makes you really thrive as an individual. And I am
that's
so honored to have you in my
oh,
show.
that's very sweet and that's very interesting because there's so many lawyers in this
Mm-mm. Not in
country.
my
And
show.
so,
Not in my show.
oh,
You're the
okay,
first
well
one.
then I'm a first. That's so exciting. I
And you're
promise.
from LA, and my I kind of I've been everywhere. I've lived in Australia, Philippines, and America, and I've lived in Florida, New York, and Connecticut. But and you know what? In my next chapter, maybe it will bring me to LA. You know what I mean? I've
Come on.
always loved
Come on
being
down,
everywhere.
Candace. Come on down.
I will. That's the reason why we met.
That's right. That's right. I would love it. Come on down.
And
Yeah.
you're always welcome here in Florida. And I'll leave you here. Let's move. I'll move there.
Perfect. Perfect. I love it. I love it.
All right.
Okay.
So, yes. Oh my goodness. This is probably going to be 2 hours. So, let's start. All right. So, Pollyanna, one aspect in my Intentional Excellence podcast talks about resilience
Mhm.
in the face of challenges. Now, being a single working mom comes with its fair share of challenges.
Mhm.
Balancing career demands while ensuring a nurturing home, is tough. Can you share a moment when resilience played a crucial role in your journey, and perhaps share how did you push through, and what advice would you give to other single parents facing similar challenges?
How much time do we have?
Well, limitless.
I mean, I could, Candace, that question, we could
It's
be
it's
here
uh,
for.
it's 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 very full.
No. I'm only
It's
half
strong.
kidding, but I think
Yes.
just to rewind the story, I think that's why I started doing what I'm doing. I mean, there I was living my life. I always wanted to be an attorney. When I do my talks, I talk about, I did an arts and crafts project when I was like 6, and I made myself in a suit holding a briefcase.
Okay.
Like I always knew I wanted to be an attorney, but
Okay.
we kind of go down a path
Mm-hmm.
and we think we're taking all the right steps to get to a goal, but life is funny. There's
Yes.
lots of curves and there's windy roads, and sometimes you have to make a U-turn or you have to make an
Yes.
unexpected turn. And I think that's where the resilience comes in. Like you have to just stay on your path.
Right.
Sometimes it takes longer. Sometimes, like I said, there's a U-turn, there's an unexpected turn, but you got to just keep going back. And it's not easy. There
Right.
are days, Candace, where um, I don't want to say I wanted to give up, but it just
Right.
felt like all the odds were against me. You know, I always wanted to be an attorney. I mean, that was easy. It was like not easy, but I knew what I had to do. Get an undergraduate degree, go to
Right.
law school, take the bar, and you get a piece of paper. It says, Pollyanna, here you are. You're an attorney. Okay, that was the easy part. I knew if
Okay.
I did 5 things, I would get to my goal. It
Right.
wasn't easy to do those things, but I did.
Right.
And then it's like, okay, I also wanted to get married and have a family. That was like
The tough one.
the hardest thing.
Right.
Yeah, because there's not a 5-step program.
No.
There's not, you can't order it off of Amazon.
Right. Or there's like a rule, like a step that you have to follow. No, it's your path. It's your family. You run your family, and it's not
That's
easy.
right.
It's
And
not
and
easy.
there's no right or wrong. You're just it's like a wave. You're just going and
Hmm.
going and you hope the wave takes you to, your goal, which is to have a healthy family, to have loving, nurturing relationships with your husband and your kids. And again, life doesn't always turn
No.
out the way you think. So I think, when I became a lawyer, I was living my dream. I always
Yes.
wanted to be an attorney. I worked very hard. Law school was miserable. I
Were
wasn't
you
happy
already
about.
an attorney before you got married?
Yes.
Okay.
I
All
had
right.
just, it was right all happening at the same time.
Right.
Like I had just taken the bar, I had passed the
Okay.
bar, I had gotten my first job, and then I met a man, and then everything changes for you when you meet a man.
Of
But
course, love.
oh, that's right, that's right. But the point I'm making is law school is just the details of being a lawyer.
Yes. Yeah.
Nobody teaches you how to be a working lawyer and a working lawyer mom.
Right. Yeah.
And so now I actually have started going and speaking to law schools and speaking to, women in education, because you can learn the thing. You can learn how to be a dentist. You can
Right.
learn how to be an accountant. You can learn how to own a floral shop, but nobody teaches you how to do that and be a mom.
Yes.
And sometimes it's just too much. And the point I'm making is, you know, that's why I started doing what I was doing. I really struggled. I mean, when I found out I was pregnant with my first child, I was working in a high-rise building in Los Angeles and kind of
Okay.
living my dream. But when I found out I was pregnant, my anxiety was through the roof.
Of course.
How am I going to do this? Am I going to still go to court? Am I going to
Right.
not get the big cases? Is my firm going to stop giving me my own files?
Right.
Law school didn't teach us any of that.
No.
And back then it was a very still male dominated industry.
True.
All the men were able to stay until 7 o'clock. All the men were able to come in at 5:30, come in on weekends. And I was like, I don't want to do that because I want to
Right.
be home with my baby. And
True.
B, I could be just as good of an attorney and still be a mom. But I
Right.
felt like I
Right.
had to prove that, like I felt like I had this heightened expectation of having to prove that. And so I got through it, Candace, and we
Okay.
talked, and then I became a single mom. And then
Right.
again, nobody teaches you that,
Of course.
and then I really struggled. It was not fun. The road was very, very bumpy, but I got through. And
Right.
thank God I thrived. And I felt really like you and I talked before we started recording. I felt like this calling, like I have to help other women.
Yes.
What I went through was very painful. It was very challenging, but I'm not the only one.
Yes.
And if I can help these women who are about to go through it,
Right?
and some of it is just motherhood. I don't mean being a single mom. Some of it is just,
Mm,
I just got my chiropractic license and now I'm going to open my own chiropractic
okay.
office.
Right, right,
And I have two kids. How do I do this? There is a way to do both.
right, right.
So that's what prompted me to do this. And I love it. I love it. And you and I talked about, like when I speak or if I'm at a summit or if I'm on a panel, and I always give people my email address and, I get these beautiful response emails. And like I said, if I touch one person, if
Right.
one person writes and says, Pollyanna, today I saw you and I came home and I felt renewed hope. I had a refreshed mindset. Ugh, that warms my heart. That's why I do this. That's why I do this.
Yes. Well, let me just tell you that you're doing an awesome job. The fact that you're
Oh,
here in front of me right now on a Sunday, trying to still make a difference, like like in our career right now, because you and I are both a speaker, right?
correct.
um we really have to put ourselves out there, right? Not because we want to, not just for portfolio purposes,
No,
not just to be part, no, because being a speaker, we both feel that there's an urge to make an impact. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm working on a Sunday instead of just laying down, resting. No,
right.
because I feel that even if, let's say, I don't have a schedule with my podcast, I still feel the urge of contributing to the community by introducing to them powerful women. And this series that I have this month really proves how powerful being solo can be. Like, solo shouldn't be seen as a weakness, Pollyanna. It
Oh,
actually gives you strength. Like, I was married for like 17 years. Like, you know how life is. And I did have my goals. I was in the field of education. My end goal, Pollyanna, was to be a principal in a public
oh,
school. Yes, because
okay.
I do have the degree for that. And backtracking, when I was still in the Philippines, I owned two schools. So my ultimate goal here in
Beautiful.
America is that American dream. I just don't wanna be a teacher. I love being a teacher, but I wanna lead a school. But like what you said, life challenges that just gets in the way. And first of all, like, I went through like a, not a depression. Like for 5 weeks, I'm like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
was healing, I was grieving, and then all of a sudden I just woke up from my sleep and said, I want to change. I want a total change in my life. And that for me was healing. So when I had the opportunity of being a speaker, no matter how difficult it is, I had to leave like a job with a paycheck. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And
yeah.
when you
Oh,
when
yeah.
you're a speaker, it's not easy. It's so saturated nowadays. But when you have a calling and when you want to really make an impact and change, you, for some reason, you can't turn your back. When something is given in front of you, you just have to be accepting. And that's what made me resilient. Same thing as your path to being
That's
resilient.
right.
And when we're resilient, it's not because, hey, look at her, she's resilient. It's because you and I went through things and we embrace those moments, difficulties, and challenges in our life. That's why you and I are here right now. And Pollyanna and I are not going to end here. We're going to talk after the
Mhm.
podcast and we're going to collaborate on how to make an impact, not just to women,
100%. Yeah.
not
Yeah.
just to women, like to a greater, wider audience, right?
So it's funny you say that because I was contacted to speak for the Dallas Bar Association because, as you know, I'm an attorney, and so they contacted me. They read my speaker bio, and they're like, "Oh, we would love for you to come and speak." I said, "I would love it. You're my people, right? Bunch of
Yeah.
attorneys." And then the president of the association said, "Hey, can I do a 5-minute call with you?" I said, "Absolutely." And they said, "You know." I know you're speaking to women and working moms, but we have a lot of men who could benefit from what you have to say. And I thought, of course. And to your point that it's not just about women. And he said, do you
Right,
think you can make some adjustments to also speak to the men? I said, absolutely. My credibility just comes from me being a working mom, but
right, right.
it doesn't mean that the men can't take some of
Something
my
from you, a lesson
take
from you.
have a takeaway, and at the
Right,
end of the day parents feel the same things. The parent, even the dad, wants to be at the baseball game and make sure he's at the recital and make
right.
sure he can take the kids to school. So it was beautiful. I had never even thought of it, and it went
Would you? Would
so.
you consider? Would you consider?
Oh, absolutely. It went so well,
Ah,
and it did. And I was so happy that they suggested it. And the point is, human beings are the same.
yes.
You know, Men have obstacles. Men need to find resilience. Men want to be nurturing parents too. Men have to focus on their career. But, I just came from a place of my story and my journey. So that's the only reason I focused on moms and women. But
Right.
but I think your message and my message is pretty universal.
Let me share with you. So what I did now with my podcast is every month I think of a powerful theme. So this month I'm doing solo and strong, right? If you're a divorcee or a
Uh-huh.
widow or you're just single. But prior to this month I was doing men making a difference. So
Oh, I love
was
that.
I was so amazed at the outcome. Like me, like who is like a beginner when it comes to the speaking industry, a beginner when it comes to podcasting, had nine powerful men who came to my show with such amazing story, Pauliana. And
I
you'll be
love that.
amazed on how the drive that men do. It's also like us, like what you said. It doesn't matter what your gender is. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter where you're at your life right now. When you want to make a difference and you want to make an impact, you will. And I just wanted to share with you that I had such an incredible response, both as guests, had a wonderful like feedback, and actually two of them started their own podcast right
Oh
after my
my gosh,
podcast. and
that's so
and until
great.
now we're collaborating. They're from UK, they're from Canada, and you know what, like like just the feeling of me,
It's
simple
so
me.
gratifying, right?
It
It's
is
so
gratifying,
gratifying.
so great. And especially now also the solo and strong series is just as powerful as it is. So
I'm
I'm
so
just
proud of you. I'm
thank
so
you,
proud of you. That's
thank
that's
you.
amazing. Yeah, and I know it's not easy and I know it's time consuming, but this is what we do because it's so fulfilling.
Right, right.
That's it. It's
And
this fulfillment.
yeah, and once you start using your voice as a tool to make a change, it's limitless.
Yeah, that's right.
It's
That's right.
limitless. Your voice is so powerful. I believe in that.
And
I
like
believe in that.
you and I were talking about before, I do these podcasts, or if I'm speaking, it's like 30 minutes or an hour, and never fails. I'll get an email from like the president of an organization or the company that I speak at saying, Pollyanna, we could have had you on that stage for 2 more hours, 3 more hours, and so that gives me goosebumps because it's like, okay, there's such a need. The human connection. And when
Yes.
somebody, Candace, I have to tell you a funny story, just two
No,
seconds.
go ahead. No,
Um,
this is life. This is real life.
so I was doing a Zoom, speaking to the East Coast, and I don't like to do the chat during it because my
Yeah.
focus is the
Yes.
people,
Hmm.
and then I do a Q&A after. And so on the side, I could see like the attendees, and I was talking, and I saw some woman like kind of going like this, and I said, sorry, like Susan or Linda, what? I'm like, are you okay? And she like her reaction was like this. I said, is like, I'm sorry, is everything okay? And she
Yes.
goes, Pollyanna, you're talking about women not taking a lunch break and living off of granola bars. She goes, as you were saying that, Candace, I swear, she goes, I was opening my drawer to get a granola bar. She goes, I was freaking out thinking, can you see in my office? I, I mean, people were laughing. I said, no,
Oh,
but I've been you. I have lived off of granola
yes.
bars. I know that you're not taking a lunch break. It was beautiful. We couldn't have scripted that. I mean,
No.
I thought maybe something happened to this woman. She was like this, and it was
It
distracting.
was she was resonating with what you're saying.
But in the moment, like it wasn't
Yeah.
ten minutes before. Like as I was talking about you need to take a lunch break because your mind needs that disconnect. And I said, you can't live off of granola bars. She was like, she goes, it was beautiful. It was so funny. It was so funny. But the point I'm making is I have been her. I'm not helping on a subject because somebody's paying me. Like, I'm not
Right.
talking about weight loss or
No.
leading a sales team or, like, I'm just sharing my story with the hope of hitting people right in that moment. And that happened with that woman. It was priceless. It was priceless. So it was so funny.
And I'm gonna reflect on that. The woman, you just changed her life. Bet you she's gonna do something grand after speaking with you because you were the light bulb. You sparked something in her. It
Oh,
could be the
totally.
literal taking lunch, or it could be something more.
Like, I
You
need
know,
to,
like as a speaker, when you're
yeah.
able to like connect with someone, it could be that small, like the granola bar. But I bet you that woman's head mindset is already changing. She's planning on her next journey. I believe in
So,
that.
so I spoke on a Friday, in Massachusetts,
Okay.
and then Monday morning, so Friday evening, I got an email from the president, like, Pollyanna, thank you so much. It was so great, whatever. Beautiful, very touching email. Monday, I get it, inbox, same woman. I'm like, oh, maybe she had a question. She said, Pollyanna, I felt compelled to write to you. Last
Oh,
night, I was doing family dinner with my husband
okay.
and my two kids. She said, I kept thinking of what you said. Put
Oh,
your phone in another room. Put your phone in another room. Put your phone in another room. And she said, Pollyanna, that dinner tasted so much better. I know I'm getting goosebumps right
I'm
now
getting
as I'm
goosebumps
telling you.
right now.
And she said, it was the same chicken and the same rice that I have made for years. But I remembered you saying, put your phone in another room. And she
Right.
said, I am beyond grateful. Like one little thing, I'm getting
I
goosebumps
know.
again.
I
And that's why
know.
we do this. And she said
Yes.
it was such a simple thing. I'm a grown adult woman. I knew to put my phone away, but I needed to hear it from
Right,
somebody
right,
else.
right.
And so the little impact, and she said, I was mind blown. And she was an adult professional, but just physically taking your phone, which probably took literally 10 seconds, put
Right.
it in another room. She said that dinner tasted different. I was engaged. I was
Yes.
like, yes, this is why we do this. This is why we
Yes,
do this.
yes. So same thing with me. Like I never knew that from my simple posts. I don't know if you've been on my social media page. I post every day. It could be a quote, a personalized quote. I always reflect. I always put my
Mhm.
story. It could be a video message. It could be my podcast. But you know what? Once in a while, I will get those messages, special messages on my DM. Say it could be men, women I've known for like years, or
Yeah.
like people who I don't even know. Like some of them are scammers who are trying to
Yeah,
love
yeah,
scam
yeah.
you, but a lot of them, if you really open it, because really like had really nice things to say about what you said. Like, Candice, I like what you said. I just want you to know that I'm a fan. Like a father who hopes that her teenagers would learn from, I mean, like
Oh
from what I
my God.
say. So
That's
like
amazing.
that's powerful for me.
That's
You know what I mean?
amazing. Yeah, yeah. Of course,
and
of course.
and the
Yeah.
fact that they reached out to you just to say that, please know that what you're doing is making an impact. Boy, my world is just fulfilled. Like at that moment, I'm like,
Yep.
I knew
You're
this is it
you
for
get
me.
so filled with gratitude and joy.
Right,
That's what we do.
right,
And these are total strangers.
right, right.
No, I know. I get it. Oh, I get it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now, um as I was reading your bio, I'm a very big believer of having a growth mindset. Okay, the fact that I lived in three continents: Australia, Philippines, and America, three states, Connecticut, New York, and Florida. You just have to have a growth mindset, or else how are you able to live your life fulfilled when you're not able to adapt to change. So I'm
That's
just a
right.
type of person who I love change. I easily adapt, collaborate with people, learn new culture, and be okay with different languages. I'm just that type of a person. Now, in your bio, I know you are pushing or you believe in the both and approach. And I just wanted to ask you, you do advocate for that. You reject the idea that women must choose between career and family. So,
100%.
Pollyanna, yeah, I do agree with you. What inspired this philosophy in your life, and how has embracing it changed the way you navigate both motherhood and your professional ambitions?
Great, great question, which we could probably do a whole 2 hours on that alone, and I'm sure your audience would get tremendous value out of
Uh
that.
huh.
But I think for me personally, what led to this is I was trying to do both things at the same time.
Right. Okay.
And there's only one of me, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
when I was at work, I was trying to do things for the kids.
Right.
Doctor's appointments, planning birthday parties, finding matching pajamas, researching schools, looking up symptoms. And then I was like, wait a minute, all my pile of work is sitting here.
Right.
Then when I would pick up the kids and come home, I wanted to do dinner and bath and baseball and ballet and all the thing. My kids were highly, highly active. Thank God. I loved it. And then I was taking work calls. Oh, hold on. Let me just check a quick email. I was like, wait a minute.
You're
Work
doing.
isn't work isn't getting 100% Pollyanna,
Yeah.
and family isn't getting 100% Pollyanna. And never mind me. I was like non-existent as a human.
Yes. Yes. I
Like
agree
I
with
thought,
you.
you know what? I was Pollyanna before I was a lawyer, before I was a wife, before I was a mom. Like, what happened to that person? And you know what, Candace? That is something that I also speak about is because the more we forget our person, I promise you, it brings you down and it drags you into some dark and
Right.
very toxic
Right.
places. So the pivotal moment for me was when we got Bluetooth in the car. I used to take work calls all the time because I didn't want my male counterparts, my male clients, um, you know, to look at me
Yes.
as less than. Like if I called my male attorney, he would still be at the office at 6:30.
Oh,
If
okay.
I called my male opposing counsel or sent an email, they would respond. And I just felt like, you know what, because I'm a woman and because I'm a mom, I'm being looked at differently.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
in erroneously and incorrectly, I wanted to prove to them I'm just as good, I'm just as available, I'm just as accessible, I'm just as dedicated. And when Bluetooth came out, I had a long drive. I would pick up the kids from preschool and it would say like a client's name. And they were singing songs and Disney songs and eating cheese puffs and just being like kids. And I would say, shh, it's a work call.
Yes.
These poor kids had to stop laughing, giggling, throwing socks at
Yes.
each other in the back because
Yes.
mom has to talk to some jerky opposing counsel who wants to fight with me at 5:30 about something that could have waited in the morning. Okay.
Right.
So my kids got used to that. And one day, it said on my screen, and my son turned to my daughter and said, shh, it's a work call. Candace, that killed me.
Oh,
That killed me.
I
I
can
thought,
resonate.
oh,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, these poor kids, they can't even in their own car with their own mom at like 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. They're being exposed to
Right.
choices I'm making, and they can't giggle and, like I said, throw cheese puffs at each other or do whatever they're going to do because mom has to take a work call. That sickened me.
Right.
And I
Right.
was like, you know what? That's it. That's it. But with that said, I had to really shift my growth mindset and
Mm-hmm.
set some real mental boundaries. That's the key. When I'm at work, I don't bring home into the
Right.
office. Okay,
Okay.
locked in, get results, be productive, meet my deadlines, hit
Mm-hmm.
my goals, get as much as I can done. And be
Right.
just as good and get just as good of results and get just as great outcomes as my male counterparts. But when
Right.
I leave at 4:30 or 5 or 5:30, I'm out.
Okay.
I'm mom.
Yes.
I want to sing the Disney song for the 40th time. I
Yeah.
want to eat the cheese puffs. I want to throw
Yeah.
their socks back at them. I want to be engaged. I didn't have kids not to be with them. But I will tell you, I do talk to some women who have now come to me for coaching who did feel they had to pick one or the other. I'm an attorney. I get home at 8 o'clock at night. I have a nanny.
Right.
She cooks, she cleans, and I'm not casting judgment on them, but I feel the pain in them that they had to choose.
Right. Right. Right.
And the flip side, I've talked to women who have given up their career because they chose to be a mom. And
Yes.
that's fine and that's great. But then I see the pain too.
Right.
You know,
Yes.
it was my dream to be
Right.
a professor. It was my dream to be a CPA. It was my dream to own a boutique. I
Right.
put my dream on hold because I had children.
Right.
And what I have learned is there is no need to do one or the other.
Right.
You can do
Right.
both and, but it's a lot of mental gymnastics.
Right.
It's boundaries, it's learning to say no,
Right.
it's discipline, but it's a truth you have to accept in your own existence first.
Right.
Pollyanna, you chose to be an attorney, but you also chose to be a mother. You have to navigate those two worlds without falling apart.
Right. Right.
And it sounds a lot easier than, it's easier said than done. But if you don't start the baby steps, Candice,
No.
you'll burn out. I've talked to women who I have a woman who um I coach. She has her third child, and she's really struggling with caring for the baby.
Right. Right. Yes.
And they're looking into alternative options.
Oh. Wow.
This kills her.
Right.
It's causing problems with her husband.
Right.
But the point I'm making, and I mean, you and I you've got great energy and we laugh, but some of it isn't. Some of it is dark and it's heavy and it's deep. But if you
Yes.
don't take those steps, just the baby steps, it will lead to a dark road. I've talked to women who have turned to substance abuse because they have to
Right.
numb the pain. I've talked to women who have detached from their children, and I mean, it's very sad. So why you and I do this is to help people like rewind.
Right. Right.
And it's almost preventative, if that is the appropriate term. Like,
Right.
do these steps so that you don't get into a dark place. Do these steps so you love who you are. Because if you don't love who you are, you're not going to be a loving mother. You're not going to be a loving wife. You're not going to be a successful entrepreneur, whatever career you're choosing.
Right.
Um, it's tough, but there are ways.
I have two reflections on what you just said. First, you and I didn't plan our lives. Like you, I didn't plan on losing my husband early. You
Cor-
didn't plan on being solo or getting whatever your situation is while
Correct,
you are
correct.
solo. So you know what? The best approach to that is you need to find your own self, find your own strength, find what you're going to be good at, because when these defining moments happen to our lives, you don't want to be like what you said in that dark moments wherein you don't know how to navigate life. You still need to be functional. You and
Correct.
I are here right now solo and thriving because probably in the back of our head you still wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to have a career in education. Yes, everybody goes through hardship when it comes to motherhood and parenthood.
Oh
Like
yeah.
what you said, there's really no right and wrong way of doing parenting or being a good mom or being a good like a mom, a wife. But here's the thing: you also can't lose yourself in the process, because like what I said, if something happens to you, like I lost my husband. It wasn't planned at all. It
Of
just
course.
imagine where am I right now? Where will I find myself right now
Yeah.
if I didn't
Yeah.
prepare for these defining moments? So I hope that people, whoever, male or female, need to understand that it's you first. You need to find your true genuine self, find what you're good at, because you don't want to reach that point when you were in you can't you failed because you didn't prepare for it. You
Well,
always need to be prepared for whatever may come in your
yeah,
life.
and another thing that I do talk about is, being selfish is not necessarily a bad thing.
Right.
As
Yes.
I think as women, a lot of times we sacrifice ourselves, like even dumb little things, Candace, like eating. I remember like I didn't want to eat without my kids. Okay, well,
Yes.
sometimes I was starving. And I felt guilty if I wanted to just eat by myself because that's not a good example. We have to sit at the table as a family and eat. Well, you know what? I was depriving my body literally of nutrition and of
Yes.
protein because I felt guilty if I sat down and ate a sandwich by myself. But I
Right.
wasn't listening to the cues my body was giving me.
Yes.
So sometimes, and the shame guilt, I did a whole panel on shame and guilt. It was beautiful and very touching. It's very real as women, as moms, shame and guilt. But
Yes.
if you just need to step outside for 10 minutes and get some sun because the house is too chaotic, the kids are screaming, they're crying, laundry's piled up, the dishes are a mess, your bills,
Right.
you just need to step outside. Get some natural sunlight, take just a walk around the block. It will do wonders. But we don't fulfill our own needs because we're putting everybody else's needs
Yes.
ahead of ours. But what happens is then we're angry, we're resentful, we're tired, we're
Right.
hungry. Our body is slowly, slowly, slowly shutting down because we're just too busy taking care of everybody else. Guess what? You're the
Yes.
center. It's like a spoke, it's like a hub. You're the center. So that's all.
Another reflection, big reflection on that. And my podcast talks a lot about this one. You need to think about yourself. You need to think about your physical wellness, your mental wellness, your emotional wellness. So I know I've mentioned this a few times. When I lost my husband, my way to heal and to move forward is physically change myself. I had to wake up one day and say, I don't like what I'm seeing. I went to the gym, I changed my outfit, and on top of that, I found ways to mentally and emotionally make me well. I started doing meditation. I started going to hot yoga. I started doing mindfulness and those little things. I didn't read it in a book. I just started to think about it like, oh my God, like my head, I'm too anxious right now. There's so many things in my head because when you start being solo and you're not prepared, like a lot of things, your brain is just so loud and it's so busy that I had to like, okay, I need to settle,
Mhm,
quiet my thoughts, quiet my
mhm.
thinking. And then I realized I was meditating. So I started doing it and it made me feel
Good.
good. And I'm like, okay, I'm like what you said, you're just doing things so randomly that you're not enjoying already yourself with your kids. So I'm like, I want to enjoy what I'm doing. So I thought about, hey, this is mindfulness, like being at the moment, at that
That's
particular
right.
moment, just enjoying. If you're eating ice cream, like today I baked cookies, I had a blast. I had
Oh,
so many
I love it. I
ingredients.
love it.
I had so many ingredients in front of me, like nuts, chocolate chips, and like marshmallow fluff. And I was just playing around with baking cookies and I enjoyed it. Like just being at
Such a
the
simple
present.
thing. Such a
I
simple
know.
thing, but it gave you so much joy. But I'm going to tell you something. If you hadn't changed your mindset, you wouldn't have done that. And
Right.
maybe it took you 20 minutes or 30 minutes, but that 30 minutes of pure joy for you
Yes.
is priceless. And we don't do enough of that. We don't
No.
do enough of that. And I will tell you that for me, for years, I struggled with the guilt. Like if I took 30 minutes away from the kids, I was a selfish mom. I wasn't taking care of what, I mean, I talk about, I used to take such a quick shower to get
Yeah.
out. I'm like, did I even use shampoo? Like, I'm not kidding. I know it sounds absurd, but like I was so stressed about, I mean,
Everything.
that's like a human basic necessity is just to wash your body. But
Yeah.
I felt so guilty like, okay, hurry up. Just like the concept of just getting water was enough. I'm like, no, it's not. I'm like, did I even use
Mm.
conditioner? Did I like? And I'm
Aw.
like, Pollyanna, this is ridiculous. What are you doing? You're a grown adult woman who can't even take like an 8-minute shower because you feel so guilty because you want to get outside of that curtain, shower curtain, and see what they're doing. They're fine. But that's just like a simple, dumb
Right,
thing.
right,
But
right.
it was my life. It was such a norm for me. And then I was like, you know what? Just like you said, I need to slow down. And it was like the dumb things, like getting out. And sometimes if I smelled like the conditioner, I was like, oh, I used conditioner.
Oh,
But like getting that little sniff like 4 hours later, I was like, oh, it was like a little reminder of it did something for
yes, of
me.
self-care.
Of course, of
Self-care.
course, of course.
Right.
So,
Well, because we get so caught up with like the busyness of the world and our responsibilities as mom, and trying to be successful in our field. But like what I said, it has to be you first. Is it easy? No, it isn't.
no,
But you
no,
have to be intentional. Like
right,
part of
right.
my podcast is intentionality. You need to intentionally care for yourself, because
That's
that's
right.
when you're gonna find your authenticity. That's when you're gonna love yourself. Baby steps, but you need to prioritize yourself.
But
And that's
Candace,
where I
if,
am right now. So if I
yeah,
can do it, Pollyanna, you can do it.
yeah, but if you don't feel good about yourself,
Yes.
how are you functioning as a
Yes.
happy, fulfilled mom? How are you functioning as a business owner? Like if you're grumpy and you're tired and you haven't eaten and you don't like how you look or you have no energy, a customer walks in the door. I promise you they get that energy. If you don't feel good about yourself and you have a small business, you're doing a
Yes.
disservice to yourself. And so it's the change of the mindset of the
Yes.
little things. Like for me, it was a shower, but
Yeah, but that meant a lot. It could be
that's
that
right.
shower, but that's just a symbol of
That's
like
right.
what you needed to
Exactly.
prioritize,
Or
right?
eating. I started, I do this thing called lunch is adult recess. I started learning lunchtime is like
Right?
recess for adults.
Right.
I want to go out. I want to get my nails done. I want to stuff a big fat juicy burger and fries and a large Coke into my face without
Right.
being interrupted, without feeling guilty. But I needed to do that. You know
Right.
what I
Right.
mean? Or just go on a walk. I mean, I used to wear a suit every day to work. I would just take my tennis shoes and put them on and go for like a 15-minute walk.
Right.
No cell phone, no files, no kids, no clients. It was me time. 15 minutes. And it made such a difference. But I had to recognize
Right.
the need
To
of mine.
prioritize yourself. Yes.
That's right. That's right. And that sometimes is the biggest hurdle. We forget ourselves and then it just gets deeper and deeper down the list. And then there's
Yes.
so many things that come up that we don't even see. Wait a minute. And so I always tell women, you got to be in the top three.
Right.
Work and kids are always there. Work and kids are always there. What about you? Where's Candace? Number 185? No, you
Right.
got to be in the top three. So,
And not only that, your kids, especially your kids are younger, they look
yeah.
up to you. They
Oh,
look
yeah.
up to you if they see their mom like so stressed out and like always feeling guilty and not taking care of themselves. You are reflecting on them. You know what I
Well,
mean? Their
yeah,
their
great,
strength they get
great.
from you.
Yeah, but very important point you're making also about mom matters.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
going to go and get my nails done. I'm going to go on a walk. I'm going to sit and eat. Like, okay, you're a human being too. You're not just our mom. You don't just have to do the laundry, do the dishes, be the carpool, come to the soccer game. I do all those things and I do it with love and with
Right.
pleasure. I'm not complaining. But when your kids stop seeing you as a human, the dynamics change.
Right. Right. Right.
And then like, I have a daughter. And so like I'm an example, just like you said. And so if I like, I'm gonna go on a walk, I'm gonna go on a run, she starts thinking, okay, if my mom can be a lawyer, a single mom of two
Yes.
teenagers, and
Mhm.
still go on a walk and still go to get her hair done and still go get her nails done, that means I can do it too.
Right. Right.
When I'm older, it's like setting the example, just like you said, which is very important for women.
I'm gonna end that growth, that both end mindset. and the growth mindset that we're talking about, like when you're solo, because either you want to be solo or you have no choice but to be solo, you just having a growth mindset is just necessary. You can't. You really just need to be flexible and have an open heart and an open mind, because there's going to be a change. There's going to be a
Yeah.
life change. When a defining moment happens to you, you have no choice. First of all, it's either you have no choice but to thrive because people are dependent and your kids are dependent. You're a second, just step it up. Thrive because you want to make an impact. You know what I mean?
That's
Just
right.
do
That's
it.
right.
You have no choice anyway because you're solo. There's bills to pay. There's routines that your kids look up to you. You have no choice but to do it. So the best part of what I'm doing is I'm actually enjoying what I'm doing. I love everything that I do on a daily basis. So that's just like a thing. Like I'm solo. I have no choice, but guess what? I'm loving my life. So
And
it's up to
but
you how you want to see it, how
but
you want to
Candice,
perceive it.
you please recognize that you have achieved something that people strive for. I know women who make tons of money. They're very successful. They've accomplished great things, but they don't feel good about themselves. So what's the point? What's the point? Like, I don't know what your hundreds of thousands or your millions are going to do if at night you put your head on your pillow and you don't feel good about yourself. You don't feel fulfilled. You don't have relationships with your children. Your kids don't even talk. I have a woman whose son doesn't even talk to her anymore.
Aw.
Yep. So what
But
I'm saying is, the things that we are trying to help women do is for their own
inward,
that's right, for
yes.
their own beautiful benefit. You and I aren't getting anything out of it.
Well, let me share with others. Like when I made this career change, I wasn't looking at the monetary
Right.
because, like what you said, I haven't had a paycheck because I stopped being a teacher or I've stopped being in that field. I've been building myself. I've been doing podcasts. I haven't monetized it. I haven't, like, everything that I do is I love what I'm doing. And you know what? At some point, it will happen.
That's
Money
right.
or finances will happen, but if you are in the mindset of money first, then you know what? You're not hitting your goal. So
Right.
right now I'm at the point wherein I love what I'm doing. I know in my heart that I'm making an even a slight impact. And I know at one point, mark my word, somebody's gonna find me. A group, a corporation, a brand is gonna find me because I am putting my heart and my soul into what I'm doing, and mark my words, somebody's gonna find me and my break is going to start. And
I
because
love it.
I
I
love
love
what
it.
I don't know, like I don't think about money at this time. Yes, should I be crazy not to think about it? I am, because bills are piling up.
You
But you
will in
know what?
time. You will in time.
I know. And
Yeah, and the universe will find you, and I firmly
yes,
believe in that. I firmly believe in
and
that.
mark my word too, in a month, something is calling me to do something, because I'm at the point wherein I know I'm pretty good with podcasting. I'm doing live show. I want to do more, Pollyanna. There's this thing in my heart that I need to do and move for farther because
I
I know I
love
can
it.
do it.
I'm
And so
so
mark my
excited
word,
for you.
you're gonna see me one time because like there's something in my heart that's not fulfilled when it comes to making a change, and I
Yep.
know it's gonna happen because it's in my head. So I'm just, I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. But you know what?
I'm
The bottom line, I'm happy. I'm solo. I'm happy, and I'm thriving in my own way because I love
that's
what I'm doing.
that's all it comes down to. And I can't wait for you, and I'm very excited, and
Same with you.
I
Same
want
with
to
you.
be there next to you when you do it. And you know what? I love it. I love what you do. And it's so sincere, Candace. You're very sincere and it's very genuine. And I do not get the feeling that you're doing this for any other purpose besides to just really share what's in your heart and to make a difference. So God bless you.
Thank you. And I believe that honestly, we our path is already carved for us. I feel that we
Yep.
already know, like whoever your higher source is,
Being correct.
being, he already set your path for you.
We're
So
just
you know
going through the
what?
motions.
Yeah, we're just going through the motion, which is ups and downs, because it's
Of
that what
course.
makes you resilient. It's
Of course.
going
Of
through the
course.
motion. So we already know where we're going in life. I believe in that too. I
This has
believe
been
it.
so great. This has been so wonderful.
And we're not even done. We're only on my third question.
Oh my God. I love it. I
All right.
love it.
Let's talk about work-life balance. Especially you are a lawyer. I actually texted a friend and said, "It's my first time to have a lawyer," and I'm like so thrilled. And I actually shared, okay, I'm not going to say who you are, but you know who you are.
Yeah,
I actually shared four of your messages. When you called me a Wonder Woman, you said, "I'm so 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 impressed with you." And you called me, dude, I really love your energy. And I think it was four messages. I sent it to someone, all right, a good friend, a friend, and I said that it felt good, like somebody noticed me, and I said, she's like a lawyer. It was like, I'm so
that's
just
very
honored to have a
sweet.
lawyer. So
No,
I
no,
just
that's
wanted to share with you that those little comments sometimes make you realize how life is good. You know what I mean? That you're being
yeah,
noticed in whatever
yeah.
I do. All right.
And they were
All right.
just, they were Candace, they were sincere. So, okay, so you want
Thank
to
you.
talk about work-life balance?
All right. So, from your experience, what are some practical strategies or daily habits that have helped you? Because this is our way to help others too. Maintain stability while excelling in your legal career and being an engaged parent. Like, just some suggestions, because I'm sure there's a lot of women who will benefit from us being solo and trying to have a
Right,
good career, or not,
right,
or just being balancing a simple career.
right. So I think we touched on a little bit really learning how to disconnect. Now with digital technology, you could work 24 hours a day, text messages, emails, calls, um, people hitting you up on social media. I mean, I have people who send me legal questions on social media. I'm like, I can't answer a legal question on social media, but my point is that influx of information, resources, access is limitless. Um, you really have to create those boundaries
Okay.
and really,
Balance.
really stick to them. I will be honest and tell you that as a lawyer, I'm very type A, and we have this fear of, I don't like surprises,
Okay.
right? Nobody likes surprises when it comes to work. I don't want to wake up in the morning, go to the office, and read, 40 emails, three of them which are going to be awful news, whatever. So, to calm my own anxiety, and I tell women this, when you come home and you've done the dinner and the baths and the games and the homework and everybody's tucked in, I will allow you a 10-minute window to log on and be like, okay, did my hearing get taken off calendar? Did somebody cancel a deposition? Is that brief now due 5 days later? Because trust me, I will have many fires to put out during the workday. If there's something I can do at night to just calm me down a little bit, but Candace, you can't get sucked into the rabbit hole.
Mm.
It's
Okay.
just, did anything get canceled? Did anything time change? Like usually I have hearings at 8:30 in the morning. Sometimes I'll get a notice from court. Your hearing has now been changed to 10 o'clock. Okay, good. I needed to know that instead of getting in the car, rushing to the office by 8:30. Now I have a little extra window, right? So those little things, because everybody's personality is different, but I've
Right.
really trained myself to just look for cancellations or changes, not to read a 5-page email from an opposing counsel who thinks my case has zero value, right? Because then my mind starts
All right.
going and whatnot. But also to also give yourself grace. Is it going to be stressful? 100% of the time. What we do isn't easy. But the other thing about work-life balance is to not be so hard on yourself. Accept the fatigue,
Okay. I love
accept the
that.
stress. Yeah, accept the anxiety. You know what?
It's
Are there
part of
going to
life.
be, yeah, are there going to be dirty dishes? Yes.
Yes.
Do you sometimes have to eat out? Yes. I do this thing where I talk about, I'm not very crafty. I'm just not. And I used to go to these Halloween events at kids' schools, and some of these, you could tell these handmade amazing costumes. I was like, oh my gosh, my costume came in a bag from Amazon. But this mom
But
had
are
made,
they lawyers? Are they lawyers like you?
well, I mean, these moms had made like these elaborate costumes, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm an awful human being. But I had to accept
Right.
that
Right.
that I had to give myself grace and say, you know what? I'm not the best Halloween costume maker. But guess what? I'm here at the parade,
Yes. Yes.
right?
That's
Like
more
my
important.
daughter, exactly. My daughter's costume may have come from Amazon, but I'm here.
Right.
And I've seen instances of women who have made other choices. And again, they suffer in the
The
guilt.
consequence
That's right. Right.
if some, yeah.
Right. And like I one of the things I talk about is work a few school events in each year.
Okay. Oh, that's nice.
30-second little thing. My kids' school always did a book fair.
So you
Cafeteria.
volunteered for the book fair.
No, 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 not volunteering. Hold on. So cafeteria is filled with books. Every class gets to go for half an hour. They say
Mhm.
bring cash. Okay. I could never go. It was always like at 11
Oh,
o'clock or like 12 o'clock. It's like,
yeah.
crud, I have to work. What can I do? So one year I decided, you know what? I'm going to do a few things from home and I'm going to go to the book fair. And I
Okay.
found out that my daughter's class was going, let's say like at 10:30.
Yeah.
Okay. So I took them to school. I came back. I did a few things from home and I went and I was standing outside the cafeteria and I could see her class, the line coming. Candace, she looked at me. I swear she thought she'd seen a ghost.
Oh, wait, she didn't know you were coming?
No, because
Oh,
I used to never go because I
yeah,
was too
yeah.
busy at work. She
Oh,
looked at me and I still remember. I remember her little face. She ran to me and gave me a big hug and she's like, "Why are you here?"
oh.
I said, "Baby, I'm here for the book fair." It's like, wow, my mom is, I mean, like 30-minute book fair. My daughter is like, she saw Santa Claus. She was like, what are, because these poor kids, so, you do a couple of those things. And one year I took the time, I know, right? You're so emotional. You're so cute because that hits home for you,
Not
right?
only that, so whenever I like a lot of people post on TikTok like those moments, and you actually see the expression of the child and you, oh my god, I'm crying whenever I see
Yeah,
those real,
I know.
authentic stories. Oh, that touches my heart. I'm like
Of course.
sobbing when I watch
Yeah.
videos like that because it's real moments, and I'm sorry,
And
I'm a teacher. I know how students
no.
feel in
I
that moment.
know. I know. I know. And what I'm saying is, one thing is you can't go to everything if you're a
Yes,
working mom, but you can go
yes.
to a few things. And I mean, most companies are very understanding. And now with people being able to remote work or I'm going to take half of a day off. I mean, I will never forget that look on my daughter's face.
Oh,
It was one day, it was maybe 2 hours of changing my schedule, but it was
yeah,
beautiful. And she needed it and I needed it. So you can do both.
right.
You can have the and.
Yeah,
You just have
love
to
it.
pick, you
Yes.
just have to pick and choose. Once I went and I read to my son's elementary school.
Oh, you read a book, like a
Uh-huh.
storybook?
Uh-huh. It was a book of Shel Silverstein poems.
Yes.
My son was like, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Mama, I'm here to." I mean, he thought it was the coolest thing.
Oh.
Boys react a little differently. He's like, "My mom is going to read a poem today." I remember it. They all sat in a circle. I sat in the middle. I mean, he was like this, like the whole time. But you don't have to not do any of
No,
it,
it
and
can't. Yeah, I
you don't
agree.
have to give up your career, and you don't have to never participate. That is the key.
Yes, I love that. I love that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm gonna go back to what you previously said. Guilt, right?
Oh, yeah.
You did talk about guilt in my second question, and I feel that I am called to talk about it in my talk show, in my love show, about women's guilt. Okay, so I mark my word, in one of my my live show, I want to talk about that guilt, like how are we going to overcome that guilt, because
Book
I
me.
just you talked about it a while ago. You mentioned about the guilt,
No,
right? Like
I'm saying I'll come on your other show. We'll talk just about guilt.
no, because it's just so, like, if you have that guilt in you that you can never make it, it's like limiting, like it's like it limits you, like when you have that guilt in you, it stops you from doing, like those little thing that you did was so
Of course.
powerful.
Of
You know what I
course. Of
mean? So
course.
just like you can navigate around that guilt by being intentional and finding ways to overcome it. Correct? Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
You
But
can just, you can find your way. It could be that little thing, that 30 minute you read a book in your son's at your son's classroom, or being there for the book fair, but that will completely help you feel relief of that guilt. So I like to talk about that in one of my live show, and just give them some action steps on how to prevent that guilt. Like I said, it's part of life. There are some things that we can't do, but you can't have that guilt limit you
weigh you down. Yeah, yeah.
from bringing
And
you
and
down. So I think,
but
yeah.
but Candace, what also happens is the guilt gets very heavy.
Yes.
And it just it literally weighs you down.
It gets
And
ingrained. It's that it gets ingrained, and you never learn from it. You never move
right.
on.
But the point is, I talk about this, guilt is internal, shame is
Right.
external. Shame is
Right.
how somebody else makes you feel. Guilt is
Right.
you. I feel guilty taking a shower enough time to put conditioner in my head. Nobody's standing outside my shower door with a
Right.
stopwatch saying, "Oh, Pollyanna, you took a 10-minute shower. You're a bad mom." That was internal for me. That's how I felt about myself. But
Right.
you have to deal with guilt right there, face to
Yes.
face.
I love that. I love
Okay,
that.
otherwise, like I said, it really weighs you down and it becomes debilitating. Okay, you can't move on from the guilt unless you really face it and say, look, I feel guilty that I can't go to every school event, just the
Right.
same subject, right? But I'm going to overcome the guilt because I'm going to do one a semester per child.
Right.
Simple. Very simple, very doable. It could be the holiday party. I remember one year I went and I made gingerbread houses with my son's class.
Right.
I still remember that. It was like third grade.
Yes.
He's 18 now. But I
Right.
remember that it was so fun. But
Yes.
I chose to deal with my guilt the best way I knew how. Again, this goes back to the you can have the boned both
The both
and.
end mindset.
That's right. That's right.
Because that simple guilt, if you do not manage it at that moment, here comes the self-doubt, here comes your poor self-reflection of yourself. It just keeps adding.
That's right. That's
So
right.
you're right, you just have to like nail it at that moment and try your very best to just move on. I mean, life is already
Mm.
complicated. Don't
That's
deal
right.
with
That's
like
right.
the
That's
past
right.
you
That's right.
know so like I wanted to share with you, how do I deal with balance in my life, because I can completely resonate with like how you put balance in your life, because you and I are both busy. So I'm a writer, I'm a speaker, I'm a host, I'm a digital creator and a podcaster. And the thing is, I just don't do it. I do them with excellence. I am such
Correct.
a high achiever. Although I don't limit myself, I put a standard for myself. But if I don't reach it, I'm okay. I'm the
Yeah.
type of person wherein I will put standard excellence, but if I can't do it, I'm still okay. I don't think my viewers or my followers will see it. It's just me putting limit on myself. So I've
Right.
passed perfection. I've stopped putting perfection on what I do. I just focus on quality. Me,
Correct.
the
Correct.
authentic me, producing my script, producing my shows, producing my live show. And you know what's nice is it's more impactful when it's just simply you're enjoying the moment. When you don't put pressure on what you're doing, you're simply doing it. I feel like putting balance also is just loving the moment. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
So
Just
I
loving
I
the moment.
also, the women I coach, I tell them don't seek perfection, seek
Yes.
practicality. What's practical? For me to make a Halloween costume would probably take me, I don't know, a year and a half because I'm not a crafty person, but I don't need that perfect Halloween costume. I need a costume, and it was practical for me to order whatever my daughter wanted to be
Yes.
that year. But you have to
Oh,
let go of the perfection syndrome. But I will tell you something. And this is something I talk about too. Social media hasn't helped. Okay, you
wait,
see
did you say
these
has helped or hasn't
has
helped?
not, has
Okay.
not. You see these perfect images and perfect families and perfect holiday decorations, and the table is perfect, and everybody's home is spotless, and there's like this beautiful meal prepared. That's not reality.
No, it's not.
Okay. And so a lot of women start comparing themselves to what they see on social media, which
Okay.
is
Yeah. Not
not
real. It's
right, right. So
facade.
I tell these women, you know what? You want to see reality? I can flip my camera and you can see what my house looks like. I've got laundry, I've got dishes, I've got, mail I have to sort. The poor dog still needs to go on a walk, like all of those things. But I'm real and I'm fulfilled. The things we see
Yes.
on
I
social
love
media,
that.
that's
I
not
love that.
reality. Yeah, yeah. So just as a cautionary note, what you see online, I mean, I have to tell my teenagers that, but I feel like I tell a lot of women too. Don't compare yourself. Social media, you're seeing the best of the best, the
Right.
finest. It's that one image,
Yes.
it's that one snap. Perfect table, beautiful, Halloween decorations, a beautiful 6-course meal. I don't even know if that woman ordered it, or I don't even know if that's her.
and
I
this
mean, that
we
could,
and this like we took it out of the package and then put it
I
in their
know,
own plate.
I know, which is fine. But don't feel guilty that you ordered a pizza that night because you worked
Yes.
late,
Yes.
everybody's tired, my son used to be at baseball games until 11 o'clock at night.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, these
It's
games
so
would go
hard.
forever. But what are you gonna do? I mean,
Right. Right.
I talk about this thing once, my daughter and I, we had to do gas station dinner. We were stuck in the middle of a game. She was starving. It was like
Uh-huh.
halftime or something. There was a gas station across the street. I looked at her. I'm like, honey, you know what? We're gonna go to the gas station and we're gonna have dinner. It was so
Hey, I
funny.
love the hot dog in Circle K.
Who've been turning for like 6 hours on that. But you do what you have to do. I mean,
Yes.
was that a proud moment? Not really, but she needed to eat. I mean, we still talk about gas station dinner. So you gotta
And
just, yeah,
I've learned, honestly, Pollyanna, I've learned to like accept life as it is. You know what I mean? Like
that's right.
when you hear my podcast, it's really all about I talk about my defeats, my challenges, the ugly parts of what I went through, even like loss of this, loss of, let's say, I got scammed, or like when I didn't make it to a position. I really talk about everything because
Good, good.
people nowadays are so, like what you said, what they see in social media are all the good side, the
Perfect.
good thing.
Yeah,
No, there are real situations, and that is what I'm trying to share by
good.
inviting people like you, by me talking about my authentic self. It's just sharing to my viewers that this is actual life. You don't have to go to a psychologist or
Yeah,
psychometrician to learn to get some lesson takeaways. All you need to do is turn on a podcast, find a good one that you can relate with,
connect
which
with,
talks
yeah.
about, because who is better to talk to you about grief than someone who actually went through grief? Who is the best person to talk about being a good business owner? Are you going to go to to a school that talks about business when that teacher does not own a business? No,
That's right.
you
That's right.
get to those, you go find those people either on YouTube, podcasts that actually went through that life experience. And that's where I am. That's why I do not sugarcoat anything,
Yeah, yeah.
not even my language. Look, I'm from the Philippines. Like people, I like someone like texted me like, "I love your podcast. I love your Filipino accent." I'm like, okay, so I take that as a compliment. Like I
Sure.
love being me. It's something I don't change. So that people who are not born here, like I'm a citizen, but if you're not a natural born American, you can still make it. Like I want you to
Of
find your
course. Yeah.
strength. And at first I was so scared of like how are people gonna perceive me as a podcaster with an accent or with like a grammatical error at times. But you know what? I have learned to appreciate who I am and find my strength. And guess what? It's me. They're
I
seeing the
love it.
real
I
me.
love it. Yep, I love it. All right. Good,
The one
good.
with the
So great.
accent, the one who says things in a different way.
Nope. It's beautiful. I love it. Yeah.
All right. Well, I love you. You are. I
Oh,
love you.
you're so cute, Candace. You're so
All right.
cute.
I love it when I connect with people. Like, you know what I mean? It just gives me like this is all worth it. This is why I'm doing this. When I'm actually having fun, having a conversation, and when you give me that Oh, it's because you are hitting me on that spot, like that spot in my heart. So,
I
yeah,
know. I
that's
couldn't wait. I couldn't wait to meet you.
like when my son is in Vegas. Like he just moved in January, so he owns like a multimedia business. So he is in one of the clubs in Las Vegas doing really well. So when when I visit him, I'll really
Oh my
contact you.
gosh. Tell me, I'm gonna come to Vegas. I'll meet you.
I know. And when you're in Florida, I'm here. I'm in
I
Tampa.
love it. I love it. Okay, I
All right,
love it.
so let's talk about finding joy in your journey. Okay, so many single parents are in survival mode, just trying to get through each day. We know that, but you emphasize not just stability, but also joy. And and we also like, how can single parents shift? I want to hear from you. How do you think single parents can shift from just getting by to truly thriving and finding fulfillment in both their personal and professional lives?
I will tell you that I think what I've discovered along the way is the beauty of really being present in what you're doing.
Mindfulness.
That's the joy.
Yeah.
Okay. I was that mom who was checking emails at a baseball game. I was that mom who was trying to be two places at once, leaving a little early, getting somewhere a little late. Um, that was robbing me of my joy,
Yes,
you know, and the guilt that those things made me feel was the joy killer.
okay.
Okay, so if I'm at a baseball game, no phone,
Oh,
no
that's
leaving
hard. That's
early,
not easy. That's not easy.
but it brought me the joy.
All right.
Um, if I'm at a baseball game, I'm at a baseball game from beginning to end, or don't go. Because I was like, oh, I have to leave early. And then if my son is at bat, and then if he hits a home run and I miss it, I would feel miserable,
Yes.
or the power of saying no. I really struggled with saying no for a long time. I wanted to say yes to everybody and everything.
Yes.
Well, I couldn't be at multiple places at one time with I'm one body, I'm one human being.
Yes. Right.
And some things had to say no because the joy that I needed was to sit and help my daughter with her project. That brought me joy.
Right. Okay.
Could I take a client call at 7 o'clock? Sure, I could, but I had to learn to say no. Tonight, I'm going to work on this project.
I love that.
Think of being at work. I want to get a certain result for a client.
Hmm.
Okay. Am I going to go to lunch with everybody who's going to lunch?
Lillian, Pauliana, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay, there you are. I think you
yeah,
pop.
I think, yeah.
It
And then
was just a few seconds. We're
yeah,
good.
yeah, we're
Okay.
going to start having to wrap up in a few too.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to, yeah.
Yes.
It was learning to say no so that
Yeah.
I could find the joy in the thing that I was doing.
Okay.
It was to learn to say, today, for the next 2 hours, I'm working on this.
Okay.
Everything else is a no.
Okay.
It's not easy, Candace.
No, it's not.
It killed me, but I had to slowly, slowly, slowly start learning the power of no to find
Yes.
the joy in the moment.
Yes.
That's my takeaway for that. Yeah.
No, I love it.
Yeah,
Learn to say no. If it's not serving your purpose and it's
that's right.
taking you away from your goal at that moment, which was your family time, feel free. I totally agree with you that that's the best route to take. You can't please everybody. You
Yeah,
can't please
yeah,
everybody sometimes.
yeah, yeah.
All right.
But
Just
you and I
quickly,
could do this for hours.
I know. I just want to ask you, how are you empowering working moms globally, helping them transform their lives? Maybe you can talk about what you actually do. Do you have a business so that you can actually share and we can invite others to see your point of view? Like,
Oh,
what impact do you hope to make through your coaching and speaking? Like, talk about that.
okay, absolutely. So that's the thing. So obviously, I speak, I do
Hmm.
these podcasts, but I also do the one-on-one coaching because I always get an email from women who are like, Pollyanna, I needed more. I
Okay.
had questions. I was embarrassed to ask in the group. I didn't want to take up your
Oh,
time. I'm struggling with X. I'm struggling with Y.
go
I
ahead.
feel that you're a good listener. I feel like you could really help me get through this difficult time in my life. I'm having these dark thoughts. I'm having real mental struggles. I want to talk to you. And so I always tell people, if you just send an email and in the
Okay.
subject line you put the name of where you heard me speak. I saw you at the Long Beach Women Lawyers Association, or I saw you at the, Sacramento Chamber of Commerce event, whatever it is. I do a free 30 minutes. I don't need a
Okay.
credit card. I don't need anything. It's completely free. It's just a 30-minute session because some women really need it. And,
Need that.
if
Follow
10
up.
minutes, if 10 minutes can make an impact, imagine what 30 minutes can do.
Yes. Yes.
So my socials and my email, I think, is all on your flyer.
Okay.
And I'm happy to do that because we are in this together. Yes, we are solos, but we are a community. We
Yes.
are
Love
a
it.
we are a tribe. And if we can't help each other, who is? Who is going to stand up for us? And you and I have been through stuff. So
Yes.
we know the road. It's not always smooth, it's not always one way, but you got to keep moving. You got to keep moving forward, and that's where the growth mindset comes into.
Right.
You got to just keep plugging along.
Last, if there's it might be that one. If there is a concept, quote, or message you'd like your listeners to remember you by, what would that be? Like you already said a lot of powerful words, but is there one thing that you want them to think about when they think about our podcast?
Yes, and I always tell people you can do it all with balance and joy and keeping your cool.
Okay.
I always talk to women, they're like, I'm having a meltdown. It's just too much for me. And it's true. It's true. But
Right.
it's just like you got to rewind a little bit and you got to just kind of get perspective. This is
Right.
home. This is family. This is work. This is community. These are bills. I mean, I have this visual where it's like one woman holding a balloon and all the arrows are coming in. That balloon
Mhm.
pops. The other way to look at it, again, like I said on visual, is just to have a big stack of balloons. One
Yes.
balloon is home, one balloon is health, one balloon is community. Otherwise, all the arrows, your balloon is going to pop.
Right. Love it. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I know you have to go, but I'm sure we're going to connect again.
Oh
So
my gosh. So, so great. Yeah.
this conversation, Pollyanna, has been a powerful reminder that being solo and strong isn't about doing it alone or going it alone. It's about embracing resilience, balance. We talked about joy with intention. I want to remind the viewers that strength comes from choosing to show up for yourself and your dreams every single day. And remember that intentionality is the key, whether in business, parenting, or personal growth. The way we set our intention determines our outcomes. Again, so if you want to stay connected with me, visit my website, candiceruggiero.com, and my social media is linktree / Candice Ruggiero. I speak at conventions, conferences, professional development, workshop. I talk about authenticity, intentionality, leadership, empowerment, and fighting burnout. Any parting words before we go, Pollyanna?
It's simple. You matter.
Love it.
You matter.
Love it. Love
And
it.
you have to remember that it all starts first with you. Because if you're not in a good place, your home, your family, your husband, your community, your career, none of it is going to be at the
Yes.
peak level that it needs to be at.
I
Candace, this
love
has been so amazing. I'm not done with you, young lady. We
it.
have so many more things that I believe that
Yes.
we can do together, and I'm excited to do together. I'm not done with you.
I know, and this has been a pleasure. I want to thank you again.
Thank you so
And
much.
yes,
Yeah.
we're gonna keep in touch. To my viewers, thank you for listening. And remember, being solo doesn't mean standing alone. Stay strong, stay intentional, and I'll see you in our next episode. Have a good evening or good
Thank
morning
you.
wherever you are. Pollyanna, thank you.
Thank you, Candace.